Welcome to Stretford, Paddock. I'm Ronaldo Brown and I'm back at Old Trafford with the news. And I've not just got a weather update today. The weather, as you can see, it's blue skies. It's not that warm yet. It's a little bit breezy. That's why I'm in a hoodie. Insomniac Dreams. Tell me if it's a band or not. I don't know if it is or not. I just thought it was a very, very nice hoodie and I thought I'd put it on. But it looks like the Glazers have actually put their hands in their pockets and started a little bit of refurbishment at Old Trafford. They've got a little bit of cleaning going on. I think like the paint's rusting at the top. It's kind of messed with the aesthetics for the news this morning, but it looks like they've actually started doing a little bit of refurbishment. I don't know how much cleaning costs. Probably pennies to the Glazers, but it's a start anyway. But as for the news front, we've got a little bit on Varane, got a little bit on Ronaldo, even got a little bit on Sancho. Shock. But I'm going to get into it. I'm going to go through that. I might talk about Maguire last night. I'm going to speak about probably what Mourinho said about Bruno Fernandes. It's going to be quite a long one this morning, but there's been quite a little bit of news, and with the transfer window very much picking up, and hopefully United actually start accelerating their negotiations and the way that they kind of navigate the transfer window in general. I'm going to get into the news. And with the first bit of news, it's my favourite player, Raphael Varane. With it being reported by The Athletic that Real Madrid are increasingly resigned to losing Raphael Varane this summer, Varane's representatives are understood to have informed the Madrid hierarchy that the player desires a fresh challenge. At this stage, Manchester United are the club most likely to try to do a deal for Raphael Varane. Several sources in Madrid believe a transfer could be feasible for around 40 to 45 million pounds, which is an absolute bargain for someone like Raphael Varane. It's very, very cheap. If you're comparing it to the likes of Koundé that we've been linked to, Koulibaly in the past, Pau Torres, even Botman, it's all around the same kind of price, and I feel like Raphael Varane is in a different ilk and a different calibre of player than the rest of them. So I think it's one of those where if you do get the option of signing Raphael Varane for around 40-45 million pounds, you got to snap Real Madrid's hands off. Obviously the wages will be quite extortionate, they'll be quite extensive, and it might be something that United will have to think about, because I think if you do get Raphael Varane in, you are going to offer him something quite lucrative in what you're actually giving him in terms of a salary. But in terms of the play that you get and the production and the qualities, it's everything that we've kind of required to play alongside Maguire. We saw Maguire play last night for England and he was great. He's come back off injury and he was imperious last night. He was solid. His ball playing was good and he offered a different element to England. And we've also seen how important he is to United, because when Maguire came out, the likes of Lindelof and Bailly and Tuanzebe, they had bit part performances, but United in general looked a little bit shaky in terms of the defensive stability. And it shows how much of a leader Maguire is. And if you put someone next to him with the calibre of Varane, someone that's got pace, someone that's dynamic, someone that's quick, and someone that's a little bit more stylish than him, I think it's the perfect partner. I think the duo of Maguire, as I've said before, the duo of Maguire and Varane looks like a very, very strong one. And I think you'll be hard-pressed to find a better centre-half partnership than that across Europe, especially if Maguire kicks on from how he performed last season, because he performed very well, and Varane continues to show the ability that he's shown throughout his career. I know that some people suggested that he might be going PSG, but apparently he actually desires to go to the Premier League, and it's a situation where Real Madrid are possibly losing Ramos as well, and it seems like that Ramos might actually be the one that's going to PSG, and Varane might be coming to the Premier League. And if he does, it's going to be either Chelsea or United, with United seeming like the most likely of destinations for the players. So we'll have to keep track of that. Hopefully he does come. I know what I've said about Varane in the past, but I thought it was just a bit of slight criticism. But in general, I think he's had an absolutely sensational career. I think he's been a great player. I think he's had a decent tournament so far, and I think that he suits the Premier League and it'd be a great signing for us, and it'll be the start of us kind of making that progression defensively to solidify in that area, because we're also already decent in attack, and I think that if we do solidify defensively, I think we could be there or thereabouts next season. The second bit of news, it is the man itself. You can probably hear the noise behind me. I feel like the second guy's on his way up to clean the top of Old Trafford and it is a little bit distracting, but shows that they're actually getting stuff done. But in terms of the news itself, Ronaldo is the man that has been linked to United a little bit over the transfer window. I know people haven't thought about it too much in whether it's actually going to be quite realistic. It seems a bit far-fetched. He's in the twilight years of his career, but if you do sign someone like him, you are guaranteed goals and production, even at his later stages. As you've seen in a Euro so far, he's become the top scorer all time in Euro competition, and he continues to perform. And I don't think Ronaldo's the type of player that you can count out even when it comes to age. But in terms of his transfer situation, It has been reported by Corriere dello Sport that he has made his way to Italy. Well, not Ronaldo, but his agent Jorge Mendes has made his way to Italy to hold talks with the board at Juve about his future, and it's very much going to be make or break, and it could be something that breaks in the next few days whether Ronaldo will be staying or going. And the teams that have been linked to Ronaldo being PSG and Manchester United, and there's been reports that United will be offering around 320k a week for the player. And it's a bit of a strange one because when we had Romano, well, I didn't have Romano, Jay had Romano with Joe. He kind of kept me off that one, but it was reported that Ronaldo wouldn't obviously turn his head or wouldn't turn his nose at the possibility of going to United, but it'd be a situation where he wouldn't want to take too much of a contract hit, he wouldn't want to take up to a salary hit, and I don't think United are prepared to kind of match the wages that he's been earning in the past, decade or so. And I think it's one of those where they're kind of thinking of the young and up-and-coming attacking players that we do have at the club. And it's a situation if Ronaldo does come in, even though he's going to produce exceptional value, he's going to produce goals, he's going to produce assists, and something that you can never count him out about, he might kind of stunt the progression of someone like a Rashford, a Jadon Sancho, if we get him, possibly a Greenwood and becoming a number 9, and you've got Sharatere, you've got all sorts of youngsters, you've got Amad Diallo, that are really budding stars. And I think it's a situation where you bring Ronaldo in, he's 36 years old, he might get in the way, and you might just get 1 or 2 years about him. And I don't think United want to continue to buy players that are going to be stopgaps and short term like we've seen with Cavani. Want players that are going to be there, have resale value, and kind of build into becoming players that they have the potential to be. And that's, I think that's the United way, especially with attack not being the greatest need for United, in my opinion. I think it should be a CDM and a centre half that we go for and we focus on. So if Ronaldo's going to cost that much in terms of the salary department, it's going to cost us that much in terms of stunting the growth for the players around him. It's not something that I'd like to see happen. I think there's bigger needs elsewhere, and I think that at the back and in CDM position is a start. But in terms of the Ronaldo stuff, when it's seemingly likely that United will offer him a big contract, but it'll still be a little bit less than he would have earned at Juve and Real Madrid previously, I'm not sure whether it would actually happen. And obviously, I mentioned Fabrizio Romano on the podcast that he did with Jay and Joe, and when he did mention the Ronaldo stuff, you can go to check that out on the channel. It's still on the channel right about now, and you can kind of see what I was referring to. But anyway, I'm going to get into Jadon Sancho, the man himself, the man that we've always been speaking about. I'm sick of talking about him, and hopefully the next time we speak about him, we'll be in a United shirt. But anyway, into the last bit of the news. Of the last bit of news, it's a little bit of a different one when it comes to the Jadon Sancho saga. It's the possibility of a player going to Dortmund the other way to kind of soften the deal. I'm not quite sure how realistic this is. It's reported by the Daily Express, and it's Ian McGarry speaking on the Reach PLC's Transfer Window podcast has claimed that United have now offered Van der Beek in order to break their resolve. Apparently it's going to be the 4th kind of bid or inquiry or kind of thing thrown out there for Dortmund to consider, and it's United offering Van der Beek as part of a player cash deal to get Jadon Sancho in. I think it's not something that I think is very realistic. It seems like just a random player thrown in the mix. Obviously he's injured right about now. We've bought him for 30 million. He didn't have the greatest impact last season, but I think for that kind of investment you'd like to give a player more than 1 season, and I think Van der Beek has a possibility to come good in his 2nd season. A lot of players do that. I think he just needed time to kind of climatise to the Premier League. I think it was a little bit fast for him last season. I think he just needed to adjust to the pace. I think towards the end of the season he had a couple of performances like that looked quite promising, and I don't believe it's a situation where United will offer Van der Beek for plus cash for Jadon Sancho at all. I'm not sure where that's come from. I've just heard the news and I'm reporting it. Do I think it's credible? No, I don't. I don't think Van der Beek's going anywhere. But it's something for us to think about, something to keep an eye on. I don't know if I'm going to say that. I don't know if that's going to bite me in the arse later on if it does come to fruition. But I don't believe it's a situation where United are going to offload Van der Beek after 1 season without giving him the chance next season, especially when we're a club that likes to have strength in depth. We're playing in Europe. We like to go deep into cup competitions. I don't think you kind of thin out your squad like that just to get Jadon Sancho in, especially with Bruno Fernandes being the only player really in that area, and then you've got Van der Beek behind him who has the possibility to kick on and show the ability that he did show at Ajax before he came to United. So in terms of that one, I think it's a little bit of a nothing story. I don't see that happening. In terms of Jadon Sancho, I very much do see that happening. It's just a bit tedious now. It's gone on for quite a while, I'm getting sick of talking about it. You're getting sick of hearing it. And hopefully United get the deal done. Obviously, we spoke to Patrick Berger. He said that we've got to get it done before the 23rd of July, which is a little bit of a deadline, but it might be a little bit flexible, because I think it's a situation, as Patrick Berger did suggest, that Dortmund are very much preparing for life without Jadon Sancho, and it seems a situation where United aren't just realising how good he is, and that the offer that Dortmund are requesting isn't too extortionate for a player of his ilk. And I just want to get it done. I know you want to see it get it done. I want United to actually sign someone. I think it's been a little bit of a lacklustre transfer window so far, and hopefully things start to pick up. And this beeping behind me, and this situation behind me has aggravated me all morning. But it shows that something is getting done at Old Trafford anyway. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm Ronaldo Brown. This has been the news at Old Trafford. We've got much more news coming your way, and I'll see you next time.